Hi. Hello. Happy, let me think, Tuesday. That's the thing when you're retired, your days all blur into one. Well, sorry I've been missing, but I did record a video, but it didn't record. Similar issues to Tracy from Crochet Rocks has been having. She recorded one and it didn't work either. I don't know where mine go. They just disappear into the ether, but they don't make it to YouTube. I spent ages, chatting away and doing whatever. The other one I showed you all around the garden, nothing. Don't know where it went. I think it's the gremlins of YouTube or the curse of whatever. Sorry about me mopping my eyes. My eyes are still running like taps. I did put some makeup on Saturday, which was a mistake. Because then, my eyes just started running again. Never mind. Anyway, I've been suffering. I don't like going on about things, but I'm suffering with my back. So, I wasn't in the best of humour for making a video anyway. I hate being drugged up with painkillers. I really hate it. I haven't taken any today, although I should, because my back's going. You like that? You have to make light of these things, because if you didn't make light of these things, you would just go. So I prefer to be flippant about it, even though my back's going. I finished up in bed nearly. Yes, I was in bed for 9 o'clock, I think 9:30 last night. Oh God, yeah, it's great, isn't it? This morning I woke up and you would have thought that somebody had thrown a bucket over me because I was wet through. So the bedding's all gone in the washer and it's now dried. Luckily it's a lovely day, so my bedding will dry. Oh, so I was not very nice to be near this morning and my bedroom just... It was past lighting an incense stick, it was past that, Anyway, yesterday, although I didn't do much of anything, I did manage to finish some things off. Yay me! Things that have been dangling and hanging and whatnot for ages, I finished off the sweater that I made with Red Heart Unforgettable. The pattern does not say who made it. It is on Ravelry. But for some reason or other, I've looked all over it and it doesn't tell me, well, on the bit I printed out, it doesn't tell me who made it. I'm sure you'll find it. But I decided I would put long sleeves on mine, which then meant that I ran out of wool for the bottom. So it's Red Heart, oh gosh, here we go, the dog's just gone flying out. It's Red Heart Dragonfly. So it's a top-down pattern. But as I did long sleeves, I ran out, so the bottom bit, oh gosh, the bottom bit is Red Heart, no it's not Red Heart, I tell a lie, it's Signet Boho Spirit in a plain colour at the bottom, because I ran out. But I don't think it will be noticeable, but anyway, it's for me, it's not for sale, it's for me. Oh. Rosie's now trying to get through the fence to get to the dogs next door because they're barking. I let her out for 2 minutes. She's supposed to be locked in the barricade. She's got a long length of garden at the side to run in. But no, she got through the barricade. And what has she done? Well, Rosie, she's dug or redug big holes in the lawn again. After my son had put some topsoil down and seeded it again, and she has dug 3 big holes. She was only out 5 minutes. She must be a demon. I wish some building firm would employ her, or a gardener would employ her to dig a hole to put the plant in. She'd be ace. She'd be queen of whatnot. This one I didn't crochet from scratch. Rosie, what are you doing? Rosie! God, if you take your eyes off that dog. Yes, I'm talking to you. Yes, I know. Go and sit on the poof. Be a good girl for once. Don't show everybody in the world how naughty you can be. This was an old sweater I made ages ago. And I ran out of wool for the edging. I'm like Leslie Hunt, I've got quite enough yarn. So I'd put some other red yarn around it. But the neck went bigger and the bottom went baggier. So I decided to take it all off, the edging off, not the whole sweater, and redo it with some more. I didn't have any more of this red, you know, sort of yarn with the white. It's not a sprinkle, is it? What is it? Like a white fluffy bit. I mean, I'd already run out of yarn when I made it. I had to do the sleeves plain instead of doing the sleeves in the shell design. Anyway, what I did was I did a redo on the neck. I redid the sleeves and made them just a titchy bit longer. And I redid the bottom because the bottom had gone all sort of baggy. So that was one of my make, do and mend. I'm a great one for make, do and mending. Comes from the background, I think. Don't throw things away unless they're absolutely useless or of no use to someone else, yeah. So I thought, I'm going to wear that sweater. I quite liked it. It's got a few bubbly bits on. We won't go into that. And maybe trim them off with I used to have one of those debubblers, but they're no good on handmade things. They're only okay if you bubbled up your trousers or your store-bought sweaters and things like that. But I don't know what happened to it. One of the casualties of moving house, of course, yes. Anyway, finished off the waistcoat. Whether or not you can find the pattern on Etsy, I don't know, because Etsy's great for finding, photocopies of very old patterns, aren't they? It was a Serdar pattern. It was 7.5p, and it was done in Pullman, which is a chunky. As you know, if you've been watching me, I made one in black with, I think it was like a turquoise green and a yellow, I think. I can't remember what other colour it was. So I made one already. Anyway, I decided I had some pink left over, so I had to go in the shed and find some cream because I didn't have any cream left over. So I made one in the shades of pink. Yeah. Now I don't know if any of you were in the UK, if you watched Sewing Bee. I don't normally watch Sewing Bee because I'm not a sewer, but yesterday's TV was so boring that the only thing left I felt like watching was the Sewing Bee. And one of the ladies on it who was doing the sewing, I think she was Asian, she had a top on that was granny squares here, across and there, and it was black at the bottom, and then it had a row of granny squares underneath each arm, and the back was granny squares at the top of the back. And I thought, ideas. So I clocked it, yeah, I did clock it, yeah. Well, I did finish this, I'm sure I've shown you this before. But I did mean to take photographs of it on a white mannequin to show it off properly, because it's a black bolero, and yes, I still haven't sewn on the two ends. You have to leave something, don't you, for the future. It's got a very similar edging actually to the one that I've just done on the red sweater. So this is one I just made up, so there's no pattern for this. And then I feel like doing a huge fanfare. Da, 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 da. I've finished off the last 4 inches of my chunky sweater. It's a bit warm now, isn't it? So I'll have to go away for the winter. But I managed to finish it. It's not blocked or anything, but I'll block it when I wear it. It's too big to start blocking, and it's too heavy because there's 10 100 gram balls of chunky in this. So, I mean, it was winter when I started it, but of course it's not winter now. And I think somebody's got a lawnmower going now, if you can hear it. So you may or may not find that pattern. It was 6D in the old money, which is 2.5p in the new money. And it was Peyton's Big Ben knitting, and I made it for myself in the lilac, actually in the Big Ben knitting yarn, when I was at school. So that is many, many moons ago, probably about 60 years ago, because I was a teenager, I think, when I made it. And I absolutely loved it. And I wished I could have found some lilac. Maybe next winter, because I don't feel like starting another one right at this very minute after having just finished that one. So, yes, it was done with some yarn I had in my shed from who knows when. It was called Peyton's Trentino Chunky. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little bit balls left over. Not really much to make, is there, because it's quite a thick chunky. So what have I been up to? Well, on I think it was Sunday, we went over to Preston. We went to a big B&M store in Preston. My daughter-in-law and son wanted some stuff for the garden, plants and things, and I bought some lavender, French lavender, which I'm just looking now. My daughter-in-law's put in that, you know, that raised bed I bought last year to put veggies in. And I said to her, you know, I said, I am not going to do any veggies this year. I'm just not. So put whatever you want in it. Anyway, I just noticed she's put me lavender in there. So they bought some rose bushes and different things. Again, you see, I did this video, didn't I, showing you around the garden and what happened kaput. Ah, kaputty, kaputty. They've also put some stepping stones down, you know, so that they can walk on the grass when it's wet. Why would you want to walk on the grass when it's wet? But never mind. That is a subject for another day, isn't it? Because it's always flipping wet here. Wet, wet, wet. Isn't that a song title? Or was that the name of a group? Sure you'll tell me. Well, I was going to do more things today, but of course the days got away from me as per usual. A lady did ask me, had I got a web page for my crochet designs, which sadly I don't. But I was thinking of putting some things on eBay. Or as my friend Sheila, from Sheila's Knitting Tips, calls it eBay. I don't know why she calls it eBay. But she's closed down her Etsy shop as well. You know, I think we're all getting sick of the tactics, yeah. So I'm definitely not putting things. I know it's a shame if you're in the US and you like anything I've made, but you can always contact me privately. My email address is always underneath, you know, in the show more bit underneath here. If you see me showing anything that I don't say it's mine, yeah, then, you know, I'm always open to offers. But remember that the postage is something that I cannot help if things are going to the US, yeah. I mean, Sheila that I just mentioned, she sent 2 pram blankets and some cardigans to the US to a lady that she knitted them for, and they cost her £35 to send them. So the lady's not only had to pay for the yarn, pay for her knitting them, she's had to pay £35 for the postage, you know, which is ridiculous, really. I mean, I'm not anti-sending anything to anywhere as long as I can send it, but the postage is just crippling. You know, people see something I've made and they think, oh, that's nice, that's a reasonable price. And then you say, yeah, but it's going to cost you £20 more if I post it. You know, it's like, no thank you. I'll just not bother. I'm going to put things on eBay maybe Friday this week if I can get photos taken. As I say, I was going to take some today, but the days just got away from me. And, you know, having back pain, it doesn't help when you're having to put things on a mannequin and take photos and stuff. And actually today would have been a great day because it's beautifully sunny. So it would have been a good day, but hey ho, I have to do what my body tells me I can do. You know, my mind tells me I can do a million things. I get up in the morning and my mind's saying, yes, Janet, we're going to do this today, that today, the other day. And then my body goes, think again, because I'm going to snap at you every time you try to do something. I'm going to spoil you. I'm going to rain on your parade. It's so annoying. It's more annoying than if you just don't want to do something, yeah? You know, I can understand some people just don't want to do things. But it's more annoying when you do want to do things and you can't, yeah. You know, you're like, I'm going to take some painkillers, I'm going to make it work, I'm going to do this and that and the other. And Trixie's just jumped on the poof or the buffet, whatever you want to call it. Hello, sweetie pie. You've not been digging, you've been a good girl, haven't you? Well, as good as she ever is. I think she's piddled somewhere, but that's by the by. 2 doors open, 1 door there, 1 door in the kitchen. What does she do? She piddles somewhere else. She is a monkey. She is willful. I don't know whether you ever had a French bulldog, but they are willful. They just do what they want to do, you know. We've never had any problems with Rosie. You know, Rosie never piddles anywhere. She never did do. Oh, once she did, when she was poorly. But that's not bad for a 2-year-old dog, is it? We've had 1 piddle in the house, you know. You can't say that, can you? Because, I mean, she'd been in a compound when we got her, because she came from Romania, as you know. She was a rescue. So, I mean, it wasn't as if she'd been in a house situation and been house trained. She wasn't. But bless her heart, our little Poppy, before she passed away, she trained her. She got her outside and she showed her what to do and everything like that. So I always say our lovely Poppy trained Rosie, and we've never had any trouble. And we thought that Rosie would train Trixie, but Trixie has other ideas. You can say to Trixie, go wee wee, go wee wee, go wee wee. And he can stand there for half an hour while he's saying, go wee wee, to it 1,000,000 times. Well, not 1,000,000 times, but loads of times. And she'll walk round the garden, and she'll walk round the garden, and then she'll come in and she'll wee. As I say, she is just so willful. She's like, I will do my own thing. Thank you very much, Grandma. Doesn't matter what you say, I'm going to do my own thing. I don't know if it's a common trait with the French Bulldog or just her. Yeah. Still, never mind. Luckily she's a small dog with a small amount of bladder capacity. So, and usually she manages to piddle where you can mop. So, it could be a lot worse. It could be carpy, couldn't it? You know what I mean? Still, we'll see what we shall see, yeah. So lots of things in B&M that I would love to buy, but I'm trying to save up. I still managed to spend 50 quid. I don't know how I managed to do it. Toiletries and bits and pieces, you know, and a bag of compost, you know, for the garden. So I still managed to spend 50 quid. Money goes nowhere, does it? I know I'm preaching to the converted. It's not as if it's just the UK. It's everywhere. Everybody that I talk to. I've got subscribers that come from all places, all over the world, yeah. That come and chat to me on a Saturday. When I'm live, Saturday, 9 o'clock UK time. Live on YouTube. Please come and join us. We're a very happy crowd. But they come from all over the world, and they're all saying the same thing. You know, things that cost, you know, say $10 are now costing them 20, you know. It's not things going up by a little amount, is it? You know, it's just things going up by a lot. I can understand things going up by a little amount because, like, everything's gone up, hasn't it? The price of petrol, gas in America, whatever you want to call it. The price of everything's gone up. So it has to be passed on in some way or another, doesn't it? You know that the manufacturer can't absorb everything. He has to pass it on. But somewhere along the line, somebody is making mega bucks, aren't they? It isn't me. I'm sure it isn't you either. Yeah. Hey, well, it's no good a moaning. We just have to get on with things, don't we? As my son said, we've got a roof over our heads. We can at least feed ourselves, although not in the manner to which we are usually accustomed. Like everybody else, we've had to come down a bit, you know. There's been no steaks for a while, yeah. But, you know, you have to eat more economically. That's all I can say. Doesn't bother me because I quite like plain food anyway. I couldn't eat my tea last night. I'd had a bacon sandwich, or a bacon butty as we call them, yesterday morning because I'd been up all night. I could not sleep at all last night. Not last night, the night before. So when my son got up at 6 o'clock with the dogs, I was sat in here on that other chair over there, my purple chair, reading. I'd taken innumerable amounts of painkillers, but they just haven't worked, you know. So from having a bacon sandwich about 8 o'clock, I think it was, I didn't eat at all. And then my son brought me dinner, and I just didn't want it. He said to me later on, he said, "Did you not like your dinner?" I said, "I just couldn't eat it, just didn't want it. I just didn't feel, you know, hungry at all." So I was in bed for about 9:30. As I said, I was that bored, I was watching Sewing Bee. They make some weird things. They only give them like 90 minutes to make. They give them these bits of clothing and they'll say, right, make a stage garment for the country and western star it was yesterday. Well, they only give them about 90 minutes or something to do it. I'd still be scratching my head looking for a pattern at 90 minutes, you know. I used to sew when I was much younger. In fact, when I was a teenager, yeah, I used to sew all the time because you could go and get, on Oldham Market, you could go and get a couple of yards of fabric material, we used to call it, very cheaply. Sewing patterns, you know, I used to buy a basic one, you know, very Jackie Onassis style, you know, the kind of shift dresses with the darts and whatnot. I used to have a little figure in those days, you know. Got a good memory. Anyway, I used to go and get some material, fabric, and sew them up and wear them on the Saturday night and to go dancing. I used to make one for my friend as well, you know. I used to say, "You get the fabric, I'll sew them up," yeah. But these days, it's not worth it. I mean, the girls I go to the Wednesday evening knit club with, they do sew. They don't sew garments. They sew bags and, you know, patchwork things. And they were saying how much the fabric has gone up, you know. It's just fantastic the amount it is per yard, per metre, whatever. And, you know, I thought, well, it wouldn't be worth my while to do sewing if I took it up again. You know, I've been looking for another hobby, as you know, because my crochet doesn't seem to be going anywhere and I need something to do. I can't do jigsaws and things like that because I can't bend over. I'm bad with embroidery or anything like that because I can't see. Can't see to do cross stitch. And that 5D sticky, whatever it is, stick-on stuff does not appeal to me at all. And in any case, I'll be bending over again until this sticky little dot thing. I can't get hold of them anyway because my fingers are dead. So there's sticky dots all over the house, you know. They wouldn't be making any 5D pictures. There'd be 5D things stuck all over the floor if I was doing them. So that doesn't appeal. I still haven't done my doll's house. I still haven't painted it. But then the weather's not been good enough for me to bring it outside of the shed. Paint it outdoors. Because there's definitely no way I want to paint in a stuffy environment inside the shed, you know, with paint fumes. So, you know, maybe this summer, I didn't do it last summer, maybe this summer I'll actually get round to painting the doll's house. I've got a lot of furniture. Oops, sounded like Silver Black, didn't I? There, a lot of laughs. I've got a lot of furniture from that old doll's house that I got rid of when I moved here. If you remember long enough back, I had a doll's house, but it was pink and it was girly and it was little girly pinky, and I wanted more of a, I don't know, it's Edwardian or Victorian style, you know, the 3-story. Anyway, I managed to get one from eBay, which Sue got from a kind from Scotland. Which then lockdown happened, so I never got it. I could have painted it during lockdown, couldn't I? But sadly she couldn't come to visit me because you weren't allowed to travel and you weren't allowed to cross the border and stuff like that, so she couldn't bring the doll's house. Anyway, eventually when COVID laxed off a little bit, she brought the doll's house down. But I then put it in the shed and it's just, I've even got the paint. Got the paint for it. I haven't got the brushes. I need to get brushes for it, yeah. But, because I don't want to get cheapy brushes because they leave hairs, don't they? And I have to paint the window frames, which are tiny on a doll's house. You have to paint them white, yeah. So I don't feel like ungluing them and then gluing them all back on again. I'm not that kind of perfectionist. I shall just paint over them. But I would love to do my dolly's house. Although I can never bring it in here because the kids will just wreck it. If I had more room, back to the... Oh hello, she's off again, Rosie. Rosie, what are you barking at now? She's got this thing about next door. They're not allowed to be in their own garden. Yeah. Mind you, the other morning when I was sitting here reading, in the morning I told you I wasn't well, there was 2 seagulls having a fight on my sun lounger, and they were going at it hammer and tongs. I had to go out and shoo them away eventually. They were having a right go at each other. You know, I don't know whether it's mating season or what, but they were fighting. They weren't mating, they were fighting. You know, and they were making such a racket. And I thought, oh, and they're big. I never knew seagulls were that big. They are massive, these seagulls around here. You know, when you see them flying in the sky or you see them at a distance on the seafront, you don't think they're that big. When you get them standing on your sun lounger outside your window, they're like turkeys with wings, you know. They are massive. Yeah. Hello, Trixie, what do you want? Hey, what do you want, little girl? Do you want to say hello to everybody? She hasn't jumped up on me today, I don't know why. You gone off Grandma? She normally wants to sit behind me. Just where Buster used to sit. Buster was always like a back cushion. He used to sit between me and the back of the chair. Trixie does the same thing. But I'm always frightened. I could lean back on Buster because he was quite a substantial dog, if you remember. But I can't lean back on Trixie. I'm frightened of squashing her, although she's quite substantial. I don't think I would squash her. Now Gigi used to always want to sit on my knee because he hated me wearing trousers because he used to fall down the gap, you know, between your legs. So when I used to recline my chair back, he always wanted to sit in the hammock, you know, from a skirt or a dress. So he used to pull a face when I used to wear some trousers. He wasn't keen, no, on his anti-jam wearing trousers, yeah. I miss that little face. You know, nobody else liked his little face. He looked like a little fox. But this chair's not plugged in, so I can't recline it back. This is the other chair to the pair. I've got one in the lounge. And this one's in here, but it's not plugged in, so I can't recline it back. And I don't know where the plugs are. They're somewhere behind over this unit thing, somewhere behind there. I must get my son to plug it in. Because it's a nice place to read in here. It's nice, it's warm. Much, much warmer than my lounge. It's one of the warmest rooms in the house, actually. But I don't sit in here purely because this chair doesn't recline. It sounds a bit of a stupid thing, doesn't it? This is me. You know, the king size, whatever it is, that I made. I don't like the colours. Mind you, I don't like the colours in here. Pink and lemon, just not my colours at all. You know, I would like bold. And if this was Granny Squares, it would have to be bold colours. You know, the jewel colours, reds and purples. That's what if I made a Granny Square, which I may do. Oh, that's a cue, isn't it? For me to go now, before I switch myself off. So I shall wait and see. I did send my son a message saying that Rosie had dug a big hole, but I've not heard back from him, so that'll be a joy for him to come back to. Anyway, see you all very soon. Hopefully I'll make another video this week, but I won't promise. Bye for now.